Alrighty. Welcome back to the StatDaddyPodcast. I'm Zacc DC. I'm your host with the least. But yeah, long time no see, y'all. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. I thought I'd make just a quick episode. Do a quick episode. Kind of pinched for time today. If you're watching on the YouTube, you can see I'm dressed like a bum. But hey, it is what it is. First and foremost, shout out Reserve. The homie Lance over there, killing the game as always. Killing the game as always. But yeah, a couple things we're going to talk about in today's episode. First and foremost, this is an NBA episode. So yes, I know, it's the off season. It's the off season, but a lot of interesting things have been happening around the league lately. So first, I want to talk about Chet Holmgren. Okay, let's see if we can pop up a little article. I didn't even think to pull it up immediately. But yeah, so Chet Holmgren, second overall pick in this year's draft, I believe. Uh, yep, second. Drafted by the Oklahoma City Thunder, OKC. I used to watch a lot of Oklahoma basketball, a lot of it. When Big Daddy Durant was over there on the team, couldn't get enough. Honestly, couldn't get enough. But yeah, even watching Shea recently with Giddy, it's been pretty exciting. But we're not talking about that. What we are talking about though is sorry, my apologies. Boop. Chet Holmgren going to be missing his rookie season. So what had happened was my boy was playing in the Pro Am League. Was it the Crawford League? I think it was Crawford's league. And unfortunately, he went to block. Oh my gosh, so many pop-ups, so many pop-ups. So yeah, my boy right here went to block LeBron. You can see that, can't you? Yep. Went up to block the King James, and sorry, my laptop's falling. And unfortunately, came down on his foot, kind of awkward, and now has a Liz Frank injury in his. Is it his right foot? I think it was his right foot. Could be his left foot. One of his feet. But yeah. So I have a couple comments to make on this. Okay. So earlier in the year, not even earlier in the year, earlier in the summer, I was kind of excited that there was a lot of different NBA basketball players participating in these pro-am tournaments, right? Jamal Murray, for example, one of my favorite matchups of the year so far was him against Paulo, making Paulo look really, really sad out there. Was hella disrespectful, a little too disrespectful, but hey, that it is what it is. It is the game of basketball. They had some beef on Instagram afterwards, but we're not talking about that. But I enjoyed it because it gave a lot of fans and especially younger kids who maybe couldn't afford to go to pro basketball games a chance to see some of their favorite players or just see some NBA talent in general, which honestly is pretty good, right? That's a pretty good thing. They're doing it for them. Obviously, they love playing basketball, so it's a win-win. But they run the risk of getting injured for nothing, and this is one of those risks. I get that whenever you're playing against LeBron James, you're trying to prove yourself. You want to do the most that you can to show like, hey, look, like I'm worth, especially in Chet Holmgren's case, I'm worth that pick. I'm worth that second overall pick. I want to show people that I can dominate. And unfortunately, this is just something that happens. You can't predict injuries, but a lot of people were predicting Chet to be somewhat injury prone, quote unquote. I'm throwing up my air quotes right now for those who can't or who aren't watching on the YouTubes, who are listening in on Apple or Spotify. But yeah, it's a very unfortunate situation. Do I blame Chet for going to the Pro Am League? Yeah, I do. But it's tough because I don't think he did anything wrong necessarily. Like, he should have been worried about his money. Yes, I get that argument, but I just think he shouldn't have been going so hard. Like, there's no reason to go and try to chase down LeBron James on the block whenever this doesn't mean anything if you win or lose. Like, sincerely, especially compared to your NBA contract, like, it's a big deal. But yeah, he's going to miss his entire rookie season. Same injury that Travis Etienne had last year in the NFL. The good news is this is one of those injuries where, like, players can come back from if they, just take their time and nurse themselves back to health. Go to the right surgeons, go to the right people. Probably going to get some screws in the bottom of his foot, so it's going to probably have a couple pieces of metal. But yeah, very, very unfortunate. I wish him all the best. Hope his recovery goes well. But yeah, that's just the first of a couple different topics that we're going to be talking about. Next up, I'm gonna pull up another screen. We're gonna talk about we're gonna get to the Kevin Durant stuff. Don't you worry. Don't you worry, guys. Don't you worry. But what we are gonna get to at the moment, we're gonna be talking about Patrick Beverley. Patrick Beverley just got traded to the Los Angeles Lakers, making the Los Angeles geriatric team even more geriatric, making them old as hell still. They traded Talon Horton-Tucker and Stanley Johnson to the Jazz for Mr. Beverley. Let me go ahead and I'm not really trying to see the team grades. I'm just trying to get a picture of Patrick Beverley's his crazy eyes up on the screen while we discuss him just for a little bit, just for the moment. Boop, boop. Okay, Mr. Beverley. Oh, my Walgreens. BOGO 50% off on Walgreens brand health and wellness products. No free advertisements, but we don't got a choice right now because the ad blocker is not working. Yeah, Patrick Beverley. I mean, shit. What can I say about the guy? So a lot of people are saying that this is a huge needle mover for the Lakers, and in my opinion, I don't really think it makes a difference on the outlook of the team this season. Who are the Lakers running at center? What is their potential lineup looking like? Potential Lakers starting five with Patrick Beverley. So what is their projected? Oh Jesus, get off my screen, please. Thanks. Okay, so let's go ahead and share my screen. Stop sharing, and now we're gonna reshare it some more. But yeah, Patrick, with the addition of Patrick Beverley, yes, I do think the Lakers did get better, honestly. And for what they traded for him, I think it's honestly a steal. Stanley Johnson was just a random free agent on the market. Kind of showed that, hey, he can be on a roster. But the only reason why, in my opinion, he was on the Lakers roster last season was because he was one of the only players on the Lakers that showed some sort of hustle at all. You know what I mean? Everybody else was kind of just meandering on down every time they went for defense. Like nobody was running like half the time. Like it was just a shit show, especially with AD out. But now with the addition of Patrick Beverley, I could see them running. A couple different lineups. The lineup that I would personally like the most would probably be. I don't like Westbrook at this point in his career. I think he should come off the bench, but with the amount of money that he is making, they are going to use him, and they are going to start with him, at least for the beginning of the season, being in the starting five. So I can see Russell Westbrook being point guard. I can see Patrick Beverley honestly being the two, which right off the bat you have two non-shooters at guard, which in this day and age for the NBA is a fucking problem, and not in a good way. It's a boo-boo in my opinion. But let's see. Small forward, obviously LeBron. Power forward, Anthony Davis, and the best center on the list of the three that they have available for center would most likely be Thomas Bryant. So yeah, Stanley Johnson's not on the Lakers anymore. I don't know why they have him listed, but regardless, it's whatever. It's all good. But yeah, I don't think this makes the team much better. It definitely they have another person to spark a fire in players whenever they're, halfway through a game, maybe when they're down, maybe to continue pushing, give them momentum if they go into a half with the lead. Yeah, Patrick Beverley's somebody I would love to have on the Suns, to be honest. He's gotten a bad rep the last couple of years, and I get that. I really do. But the guy's just passionate, and he does inspire others around him to do better and be better. So definitely a plus to get him. And like I said, what they gave up for him, like Talon Horton Tucker, Talon Horton Tucker, right? I don't think, I think he showed us like, hey, he's cool. He can be a rotation player, but he's nothing special. And like I said, Stanley Johnson, my guy was on the waiver wire. He might even get cut by the Jazz again, to be honest. Didn't really show anything before the Lakers in his career, like showing like, hey, like I'm worth a roster spot. But you never know. He could stay on the team. But as far as the Lakers go, I don't see them next season making like a crazy amount of noise. I've kind of been off the Lakers for a minute now. Uh, yeah, Anthony Davis is just, they call him Anthony Street Clothes for a reason. If he were to stay healthy, he's one of the, I don't know, top, or used to be a top 12 at least player in the NBA. Is that still true nowadays? I don't know. There's a lot of up and coming stars. But no, LeBron James, AD, Thomas Bryant. Thomas Bryant's not honestly a low key dog. Like people don't give him the credit that he deserves. Even Damian Jones, like whenever he's firing on all cylinders, he's not bad necessarily. I'd prefer to have Lonnie Walker out there on the court. Let him develop a little bit more. See if he is able to step up his game, maybe with the new landing spot of the Lakers. With the Spurs, he was okay. He showed some glimpses, showed some signs that he could, be a decent rotation player. And Kendrick Nunn, I mean, if it wasn't for his injury last season, I think he would have made way more noise than people give him credit for at the moment. He was one of my favorite players on the Miami Heat when he was still over there. He was a walking bucket most of the time. I mean, not the most creative playmaker in the world, but if you need a bucket, he can go get you one. But yeah, I like the lineup that some of these lineups that they could run. I mean, they could get really funky with it. I mean, if you told me that halfway through the season the Lakers are forced to run a lineup of LeBron James at the 1, Bev at the 2, Lonnie at the 3, Anderson or I don't know, Wayne Gabriel at the 4, and Damian or Thomas at the 5 with Anthony, nursing an injury again, I would believe you. Would they be a contender? Absolutely not. Do I think they're a contender now? For a play-in spot, yeah, for a play-in spot. I think I don't think they're going to do much better than the Trailblazers this season. Like those are just two teams I'm completely off of this year. Obviously, like I'm not even reading this article. I only pulled up this article just to look at the potential rotations. But I don't. This Patrick Beverley isn't the biggest needle mover ever, especially whenever you were giving up somebody, in my opinion, who was equal to him, which was Talon Horton Tucker as far as like ability. But yeah, I don't know. Patrick Beverley gets in a lot of people's heads. He's good. He's still in the NBA for a reason. They gave him some money because he inspired a lot of the younger cats there in Minnesota. But yeah, 1 minuto. Sorry, mouth is getting a little dry. Gotta hydrate when you can. But yeah, honestly, Lakers didn't improve that much. I mean, as far as like a rotation player, yeah, Patrick Beverley, dope. But if you're forced to start him at any point in the season and have him try to be a consistent bucket getter, which I don't think they're trying to get him to be anyway, but yeah, it's going to be a problem. Especially with like not necessarily all these old dudes. Like it's not as old, like their team's not as old as it was last season, but it's still not a very good roster. And I know in the past LeBron has done more with less, but I mean, come on, guys. Like, how long has it been since LeBron willed a team like that, like an awful roster to the finals? It's been a couple years. Back during the bubble, I mean, it was a little different. He had a perfectly healthy and capable Anthony Davis, but until I can see Anthony Davis on the floor for more than 50 games, I'm not really getting too excited. You feel me? And I've come around on LeBron a lot the last like 5-6 years. Before I was like, nah, LeBron, he's one of the he's one of the GOATs. But like I truly felt that there were some players in the league that were playing better than him each season at the time. Like he's always going to be a top 10 player if he's healthy. Always. But for him to be the peak of that guy, I still to this day think Kevin Durant, like on a night-to-night basis, could be better than LeBron. Keyword is could be, or has a better chance of willing somebody to a championship. But with that being said, we're going to talk about Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, my guy, one of my favorite players of all time. I'm always going to root for you, buddy. But what the fuck was this offseason, man? What's been going on, dog? I mean, just 2 weeks ago, he was talking about how he wants part of the coaching staff, part of ownership, wants Steve Nash fired, wants all these things changed, and just 2 weeks later, now here we are saying, hey, I don't plan on sitting out any games. I'm happy to stay with the Nets. Let's go win some games. And I have so many freaking thoughts about this. Okay, so many thoughts about this. First one, I want to say shout out to the Brooklyn Nets. Okay, in a league where players more often than not have control of their destiny, especially stars. I'm glad that they didn't cave. I'm glad that they didn't give in. Just for the sake of basketball, because if all these star players are constantly going to be asking for trades when shit doesn't work out for them, it's going to ruin the game. It's definitely going to taint the contender pool for sure. With that being said, as long as LeBron's on your team, same with Kevin Durant. As long as one of those two guys is on your team, yeah, you always have a shot. But are they my favorites to be contenders at the moment? I don't know. I don't know, man. I really don't think so. Obviously, Kyrie's still with the Nets. They have Ben Simmons now. They got a plethora of pieces around them that could help them get to the playoffs, of course. But if they were to go far in the playoffs again, it's going to have to be the KD show and have, Kyrie showing up 1 to 2 games, dropping 30 to 40, which isn't necessarily a problem for him. But like, we haven't seen Ben Simmons play basketball in so long, so we can't really count him in necessarily. Let's take a look at their potential projected lineups right now. Hold on, can I projected Brooklyn Nets lineup? Okay, all right, I get it. There's all these fucking ads. I get it. Okay, just not showing me their. Oh my god. Brooklyn Nets lineup 2022. Okay, perfect. All right, can I share my screen from here? No, I can't. Shit. All right. Uno momento, please. Share screen. Chrome tabs. Brooklyn Nets starting lineup as of today. Woo, perfect. So yeah, the projected starting lineup for Brooklyn this season is going to be Kyrie Irving, Seth Curry, Bruce Brown, Kevin Durant, Andre Drummond. See, like, honestly, it's not the worst. Like, I like this roster way better than the Lakers roster. I mean, obviously, a lot of people would agree with me, but yo, having one of the best rebounders of all time, grabbing boards, if he even is somewhat of an inclination of his older self, Andre Drummond, if he steps up, could be a monster board getter for him. Kicking the ball back out to Kevin Durant. Sorry about that. My dogs heard the Amazon guy started barking. My apologies, y'all. Didn't mean just to leave you hanging high and dry like that. But yeah, so yeah, let's just take a look at this roster. I mean, Kyrie Irving, like I said, dog, absolute dog. Kevin Durant, dog. Not really worried about him. Bruce Brown, I mean, he's kind of come into his own. He gets a bucket when he needs to. I love the kid a lot. Then down here, let's take a look. Ben Simmons, TJ Warren, both guys that we really haven't seen much of in the last couple of years, like at all. TJ Warren, I mean, Bubble Warren was a fucking problem. I mean, can I click on his shit and like, Yeah, where's his playoff? Is it possible to look at his playoff performance from? I'm not trying. No offense, but I'm not trying to see his fantasy stats. It's not really fantasy season just yet for b-ball. Yeah, my guy was killing it. I mean, yeah, career average 3 points not the greatest, but I mean, yo, in 2019, 2020, he was way better than league average, shooting 41.5%. Let's just call it 41.5% from three. You feel me? Uh, let's see, field goal percentage. Yeah, shooting about like, I don't know. If we'll call it 50 and a half, 51% from field. I mean, yo, if TJ Warren ends up like really turning up and fucking balling out, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all. TJ Warren's a dog, and yes, is he a little overrated at the moment? Yeah, but he's also underrated in the same sense if he were to return to form at any given point. Um, but yeah, Ben Simmons just such a huge question mark. I mean, defensively, this guy's a dog. Like, I don't think he's gonna have a problem on defense, but we just like the confidence. Does he have the confidence to shoot the ball or even make a layup whenever he's wide open? You know, Joe Harris is getting up there in age. He's still one of the best 3 point shooters in the league, but I don't know how much longer that's necessarily going to continue. Nicholas Claxton has been a dog for them off the bench. I'm actually surprised he's still on the team. I didn't know he's still on the team. Cam Thomas too. I mean, this guy has so much potential, so much potential, but unfortunately, like he just gets in situations where I feel like he makes some poor decisions a lot. Especially, yeah, like shooting from the three. Like, I get that he is a baller and he can make those shots, but when you got Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving on your team, like you don't necessarily have to try to do it all yourself, buddy. I know he's coming off the bench a lot of the time and trying to fill in for, let's say, a Kyrie or somebody else whenever he, like, he's on the bench or he wasn't playing. But yeah, I don't know. I also am not convinced that the Nets are going to be guaranteed contenders this season. Obviously, I like the roster, like I said, better than the Lakers, but that doesn't really mean much whenever the Lakers kind of gutted themselves the last couple seasons and are trying to just put spare ends. They're like the island of misfit toys out there. But yeah, I'm kind of shocked KD stayed on the team. Not going to lie. Like I said, I'm very happy that the Nets stood their ground just for like the game of basketball in general. But yo, some of the trades that Boston were lobbing towards them, if I was a GM, I would have thought about it. Well, I mean, I guess they did think about it. I would have like strongly considered trades, especially for like a Jaylen Brown. I mean, dog. Jaylen Brown's he's that guy. He's that guy. Especially under pressure. Like, Jaylen Brown was one of the only consistent pieces for the Celtics throughout the entirety of the playoffs. Yeah, he had a little bit of a turnover problem, like here and there in a couple games, but not as bad as Jason Tatum, which was seemingly in every game this man was giving up the ball, just dropping the rock out of nowhere, getting his pockets picked all over the court, losing cookies. But yeah, I would have taken the trade, especially with like Aaron Nesmith, Grant Williams, Jaylen Brown, and like 3 or 4 first-round picks, maybe 5. Setting yourself up pretty well, especially if Ben Simmons can come back to form somewhat, or regardless if he plays point guard or the power forward position. Let's say Cam Thomas does develop into the bucket getter we all know him to be. Like, I mean, yo, that's pretty good tandem. That's a nice little three-way tandem. You feel me? Pause. But yeah, I mean, Toronto had some pretty interesting offers as well, but I guess Scotty Barnes wasn't on the table at all at any point during the trade discussions. So I understand why the Nets didn't move KD. I would have wanted Scotty Barnes as well on my team. I mean, yo, come on. Rookie of the year, bro. Rookie of the year. But yeah, we could talk a little bit of football, but that's pretty much all I wanted to cover. Pretty crazy that Kevin Durant is staying, especially after all the hoopla he's put his team through. I don't want to hear shit about the Suns doing DeAndre Ayton dirty, even though they kind of did, and I'm a Suns fan, and I agree with y'all. But yo, like how Kevin did the fucking Nets and and honestly, like back to Patrick Beverley's point a couple weeks ago, how dirty he kind of did a lot of the free agents, he kind of fucked up a lot of people's money too. I know you can't directly blame him for like something like that, but there's so many teams that were just that just weren't signing certain players or weren't trying to make moves in case that they did get a Kevin Durant. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't know. This whole situation was funky. I'm glad it's somewhat resolved at the moment. I don't see KD faking an injury or getting that after a second look from another physician, Kevin Durant, blah blah blah. I don't see that happening. Kevin Durant loves basketball. He's going to be out there. He's going to play if he can. But shit, wild times we're living in, folks. Wild times we're living in, for sure, for sure. I mean, is there anything else crazy that's happened in the NBA recently? I'm just going to go ahead and see if there's anything else that I'm just forgetting off the top of my head. Should we cover the Chet Holmgren injury? Really, really sad. Really, really sad injury to get for next to nothing, for almost no reason. But let's see. NBA. Did I miss any NBA news? Oh. The Knicks. The fucking Knicks, man. Knicks could be open to trading RJ Barrett for freaking Donovan Mitchell, I guess. I mean, here's my thing, right? If Donovan Mitchell goes to the Knicks, let's say Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Brunson, could they be like a tandem that really like makes shit happen? I don't know, because how much you're gonna have the amount that you're gonna have to give up to get a Donovan Mitchell. It's crazy too because the Jazz were like, oh, well, we don't think Donovan Mitchell is the type of player that could lead a franchise to a title. Yet, their price for Donovan Mitchell is of somebody who's going to be a franchise player who has the potential to lead your team to a fucking championship. So that's just hilarious. That's just funny. You know, it is what it is. It's business. I get it. But like, yo. So do you like the guy or not? You know what I mean? Like if he's really that bad and that toxic and all this shit, you'd be trading him at any moment. Would I include RJ Barrett in a trade for Donovan Mitchell? I mean, the short answer is yes. But if you were to really think in depth about it, I mean, RJ Barrett's one of the only consistent pieces on that team that's kind of coming into his own. Do you really want to give that up for Donovan Mitchell? Like, and yes, Donovan Mitchell is the ultimate bucket getter, especially in the playoffs. I mean, his team around him usually crumbles, but he himself. I remember that duel that the Jazz and the Nuggets had a couple years ago where it was just Murray versus Mitchell, just exchanging 30, 40, damn near 50-point games on a nightly basis. And Donovan Mitchell still is that guy. I remember watching a couple Suns games this year where they were playing, and Donovan Mitchell would just like for 3 or 4 possessions in a row come down the court, step back 3, bucket. I remember it was like one swish, one off the glass, like banked in, another swish, came down, got a quick 2 with an and 1. I'm like, yo, this dude just scored 12. Why are we giving up 12 points in like 2 minutes? Come on, guys. I was like, come on, team. Suns ended up winning that game by like 2. You know, when we had it locked up, how we normally do, fucking 15-point lead at some point in the game. But yeah, Donovan Mitchell. Do I think the Knicks would be better with him? Yeah, obviously. But do I think the pieces around him would be able to get them into like Eastern Conference final contention? I'm not convinced, especially I don't know if they plan on trading. Let me look. Do they plan on trading Julius Randle for him? Because Julius Randle is one of the most overplayed players in the last couple of years. I mean, so yeah, New York Knicks recently offered 5 first-rounders, 2 unprotected, Obi, Fournier, and additional players for Mitchell. However, the package is reportedly below Utah's asking price. Yeah, see, I don't know, man, because Barrett's still 22 years old. 21? 22 years old? He's still 22 years old, and like even though he's had a shaky start to his career, I still think that he can blossom into something for real. What about Donovan? How old is Donovan? He's like 27? He's still only 25. Okay, I did not realize that. I thought he was older than he was. Feels like he's been in the league forever now. That's crazy. He's younger than my cousin. Fuck. I mean, not by much, to be fair. He turns 26 in like a week or two. That's a toughie. That's a toughie. If they could somehow finesse it where they can keep an RJ Barrett on the team and it be a rotation of Brunson at the 1, Donovan at the 2, Barrett at the 3, I mean, you could fill in that 4 and 5 spot pretty easily. Another one, did Mitchell Robinson re-sign with them as well? I'm sorry, guys. I should have. This was kind of not one of the things I was necessarily thinking of talking about. He is staying in New York. Yeah. All right. Maybe they could make some noise. Okay. Do I think that they're title contenders? No, I don't. I think Jalen Brunson was overpaid for sure, and the addition of Donovan Mitchell would for sure make their offseason even better. It would kind of reconcile how much they overpaid for Brunson a little bit. But does this make them a championship team? No. Does this make them better and/or a playoff contender? Play in for sure. Oh, for sure, yeah, I can see it. I mean, they just went to the playoffs like 2 years ago, and that was kind of like a way more booty roster. So, would I love it if Donovan Mitchell went to the Knicks? Not really, but at the same time, it's better than nothing, I guess. Especially if he already wants to leave. I'm kind of contradicting myself a lot with this one. I'm very conflicted. If you guys couldn't tell, but yeah, Donovan Mitchell, man, he's like a 30 point per night scorer. Fuck it. If I had to give a verdict, I'd say they'd make him better. It'd be fun to watch the team for sure. But yeah, I don't see them. I see them just. I feel like he'd have the same success with the Knicks that he has had with the Jazz in the past, which was making it to the second round maybe and then getting bounced. You know what I mean? Like they're not going to be like one series away from going to the title anytime soon. Not especially, but even if they do add Donovan Mitchell. So yeah, shit. Donovan Mitchell, if they can keep RJ Barrett and have Donovan Mitchell, Brunson, Barrett, Randall, and Robinson all on the floor together, yeah, they're gonna win way more games. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see for sure. But yeah, just wanted to do a quick little 30 minute episode. I just didn't really know what to talk about this episode. I wanted to cover some more fantasy football stuff. But for one, that's what I did the last three weeks. And two, my drafts are all coming up in the next couple of days. Don't want to give too much sauce out. Don't want to give that secret sauce, that little salt-based sprinkle on top that, somebody might see and might push somebody else's team over the edge, or they might snipe my guys. I've already made a lot of videos on some late round guys that I really want. And I'm trying really hard to get. So if you want to check those videos out, they're posted on my YouTube. Go ahead and check it out. If you don't necessarily have the time to sit down and watch an episode, but still like to hear some things I have to say about these players, some thoughts. Like I said, we are also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So yeah, make sure to check us out. Yeah, don't really have much more. I one more thing before I go. Actually, one more thing. One second. So coming up in a couple days. Boom. Can y'all see that? So you can see my ring light for sure. Maybe if I turn my ring light down, it won't reflect as much. Yeah, my cousin Willay is dropping a new single. It's called No Good. It's getting a nice little two for McDuford, a little 2-pack. His music is just taking such a it just keeps elevating. Every time he releases something, it just gets better and better and better and better. So yeah, make sure you go check out Willay's new singles that are dropping. I believe they're dropping, if not the 26th, which is tomorrow. I believe that they're dropping extraordinarily soon. Let me see. But yeah, Make sure to go keep your eye out on it. His name is his at on Instagram at WillALV if you want to keep up to date with him. I mean, he's got a crazy dope, catalog at the moment as well. And this is just the beginning. He's finally getting out a bunch of stuff that he's been holding on to for a couple months, but shit doesn't hurt to, go click the link in his bio, go pre-save, code pre-save no good by Willay, Willay, find him on anywhere you listen to music, Apple, Spotify, Google, YouTube, anywhere you can stream music, he's up on there. So yeah, be sure to go check out my boy. And yeah, nothing else to cover. So once again, thank you for tuning in to the Stat Daddy podcast. This, not really even an official episode. Episode 4, we're going to call it episode 4, but this is more of just a shoot the shit session. Didn't want to be inconsistent. Didn't want to skip out on an episode this week. So boom, here we are. But yeah, have a good rest of your days and or nights, and stay safe. Stay safe out there. Peace.